Hi there, this is Lillian Silva. I'm a child development student at BYU Idaho this semester, and this presentation is a graded requirement from this course. My topic is childhood nutrition. My presentation is divided into three parts, and the first one will approach breastfeed and the benefits of balanced nutrition to children's development. Secondly, I will share some statistics about malnutrition worldwide and malnutrition cycle in developing countries. Last, we will address some tips on food nutrition and changing old habits in search for a better life. First and best, the colostrum, the thick substance that comes before the milk, is indeed strong and immunizes the children. It provides babies powerful first meals. Mother's milk is the perfect food for babies and infants. The World Health Organization advises mothers who are able to, because not all of them are, who are able to should breastfeed their children up to 2 years old or more. Until the baby's 6 months, no other food is necessary, just mother's milk. From 6 months on, some solid food should be gradually introduced. While you introduce food, caregivers should offer a varied range of fruit, vegetables, and grains, according to pediatricians' recommendations. Balanced meals will benefit children in many ways. I will mention 3 in this slide and 1 more in the next. Number 1, proper nutrition is necessary for physical growth and development in children, and this is the one everybody knows usually. 2, good nutrition is also essential for cognitive development in children. Adequate intake of essential vitamins and minerals such as iron and iodine can improve cognitive function and academic performance. And 3, a balanced and nutritious diet can help prevent various health problems in children, such as obesity and type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Well, emotional aspects are not always mentioned when talking about balanced nutrition or nutrition. Children who have accessible food are less likely to suffer from food-related anxiety than the ones who suffered food deprivation or in his or her early years. This is something I read a lot before adopting my children, and it proved to be true for us. Malnutrition not only affects children's body's development, but also their neurons formation, and food deprivation or scarcity may generate emotional and behavioral problems. These are some alarming worldwide statistics. Malnutrition affects 1 in 3 people. It is also the cause of 35 to 55 of all childhood death, and 149 million children are stunted because of malnutrition. I'll show you now a video about the cycle
There are
of malnutrition.
approximately 3 billion people living in our world today who survive on less than $2 a day. And as a result of this, we have a cycle of malnutrition, especially amongst our young children. At present, there are about 160 million children under the age of 5 who are malnourished in our world. And these are children who are mostly living in developing parts of the world, in Asia, in Africa, parts of Latin America. And this cycle of malnutrition is what I'd like to go through today. So malnutrition, one of the biggest concerns that we have when we have a child who's experiencing malnutrition is the fact that that child's immune system is going to be compromised. And that means that that child is going to be less likely to be able to fight off diseases. So a compromised immune system is going to lead to an increase in both the duration and the number of diseases that that child experiences growing up. Another thing that malnutrition does is that it inhibits or it slows down both the growth, the physical growth of a child. So that's increases in weight, height, and head circumference. And then also, it also inhibits or slows down the development of the child. And when we're talking about development, we're talking about maturation of the child. And development can occur either with or without physical growth. So an example of development without physical growth would be learning how to speak or learning how to walk. And an example of development with physical growth would be, for example, pubertal development or development around the time of puberty. So all of these things, delays in growth, delays in development, and an increase in the number and the severity of diseases experienced by the child, all of these things are going to lead to an overall decrease in the lifetime productivity of that child. That child is less likely to be a highly functioning member of the society in which that child lives because of the fact that they're small, that they're unable or less able to learn effectively, and also that they're often ill. So what's going to happen then? Obviously, children grow up, and what happens then when you have widespread malnutrition is that this decreased productivity becomes a characteristic of all of the children who are becoming the adults within a society. And that's going to lead to sort of a decrease in the country's, in the country's development. And decrease in country, I'll just write countrywide development. Well, the first sort of side effect or symptom of that is going to be widespread poverty. We're going to have you're going to see a lot of poverty. And of course, one of the sequelae or the follow-ons of widespread poverty is, of course, malnutrition in children. And so you can see that this is a self-perpetuating cycle. We have malnutrition in many children around the world, leading to delayed growth or stunted, restricted growth and restricted development, decreases in the child's ability to battle disease, leading to increased illness, all of these things contributing to decreased productivity of the child, and that is going to lead to decreased productivity of the country, widespread poverty, and again, malnutrition.
And as we said before, undernutrition can lead to some types of malnutrition. A very common one is stunting. A stunting indicates that a child has failed to reach their growth potential. A child is defined, when a child is defined as stunted, it's defined as stunted if they are too short for their age. Obesity, however, is not always considered malnutrition, but it is. One well-known cause of overnutrition is obesity. Basically, obese people ingest more calories, especially more carbs, than they need, and usually lacks important nutrients crucial for healthy development. UNICEF points out that both malnutrition and obesity share common underlying causes, such as poverty, lack of education, and limited access to nutritious food. And in addition, they can coexist in the same community, which is known as the double burden nutrition.
I'm concerned about the health of our children. Today, We've got record numbers of kids with type 2 diabetes, particularly teenagers. We have children as young as 10 that have high levels of cholesterol. And all you have to do is walk through any mall in the country and you can see that we have an overweight and even an obesity problem with children and teens. This is coming about in great part because of the fact that the American diet is so low in fiber and high in refined sugar. There are some simple and easy things that we can do to help increase the fiber. For example, make sure that when you have a cereal that the first ingredient is 100% whole grain cereals. So make sure that there's at least 3 grams of fiber in that cereal. Instead of having fruit juice, which we know kids love, let's do fruit. That gives us fiber, it gives us extra nutrients, but the fiber is the big thing. If your child takes his lunch to school, or you're looking for snacks for the soccer game, or you're looking for the baseball game, how about little bags of nuts and seeds? They can be high in omega-3s, they're high in fiber, they're a nice alternative to candy bars. And then the last thing is gradually change the white rice to brown rice and the regular pasta to whole wheat pasta. And you don't have to do it all at one time. You can, in our house, what we did was we took half white rice and half brown rice and we mixed them. And that way my kids were introduced to it. And eventually we got to the point where it's all now brown rice. So fiber can be one of the best things that we can do to help children eat a healthy diet to put them on the right track for terrific health.
I'd like to share some successful food introduction strategies. Kids can be very picky. And here we have 4 different strategies and easy to apply. The first one is baby-led weaning, which is a method of introducing solid foods to infant by allowing them to self-feed, because research has shown that it can lead to improved eating habits and lower risk of obesity later in life. And one study found that infants introduced to solid foods via baby-led weaning were more likely to choose healthy food and have a preference for fruits and vegetables. The second strategy is called repeated exposure. Repeated exposure method involves introducing new food to a child multiple times, even if they initially reject it, and most of them reject it at first time. And studies have shown that it can increase likelihood of childhood eventually accepting and enjoying the food, right? And in fact, it can take up to 10 to 15 exposures for a child to accept a new food. Food pairing is another simple one to apply. It involves introducing a new food alongside fruit that the child already enjoys. For example, if a child enjoys strawberries, pairing them with a new food such as kiwi can increase the likelihood of the child trying and enjoying kiwi. And we sometimes do the last one, but we usually do that, maybe even with all the science, but empirically we sometimes do that. So it's called social modeling and involves exposing a child to positive social interactions with other children and adults who are eating new food. Research has shown that children are more likely to try new foods when they see others eating and enjoying them. Maybe you have already seen that when your child comes home saying, "Oh, now I like it. My friend was eating that, and then I tried and I liked it." So hope you enjoy these 4 strategies. I'll be applying them myself. And as I finish it, As I'm finishing my presentation, I just want to provide some food for thought by comparing two ranks here. One on the left is the one with healthiest nations in terms of nutrition, diet, eating habits, and etc. And the ranking on the right shows the countries with the lowest under 5 years old mortality rate. Can you see something in common? Thanks for watching.